meet you, Gina. Okay. Hi, I'm Erin. I worked at Ocaquatics over 5 years ago now. I started off in Mirren's I started off in her house. So we're going to do that again.
She said office in her house. It could be silly. You can make errors, people. This is not a real video shoot.
Okay.
We're not filming a movie.
Sorry. Excuse me. Who else wants to start this video? Gina, I'm shy. Hi, I'm Erin. I worked at Ocaquatics over 5 years ago now. I started off as an office assistant in Mirren's house until she built the Kendall location, and so I moved over to the Kendall location where I continued working in the office, and I ended up being a supervisor for a few years until I started teaching. And that's my Ocaquatics story.
Like teaching at a school, not teaching swimming.
Teaching at a school, correct.
Oh, okay. Okay, go Gina. Hi, my name's Gina. I worked at Ocaquatics when I was 17, straight out of high school, and really immature. Sure, yes, I was very immature. It was my first job, and by the end of Ocaquatics, I think I became definitely a young adult and ready to enter, just my career work experience.
That was way
Go, Crystal. That was so nice. Okay, hi, I'm Crystal. I started working at Ocaquatics my freshman year of college, and I worked at Mirren's house. I worked in Kendall. I worked at Gulliver. I worked in camp. I worked in parties. I worked everywhere in Ocaquatics.
Yeah, Crystal's like, I did it all. We're here to share with you our top 5 things that we learned while we were at Ocaquatics that are still with us today. All right, so the first thing we
besides our friendship.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, we definitely met a lot of people through there.
First thing I think that's obvious in any job that you're going to learn about is responsibility. Now, the reason that I still mention it when I talk about Ocaquatics is because it's a unique sense of responsibility, since you're not only responsible for your tasks, as in if you work in the office, you're going to be calling parents, you're going to be booking reschedules, you're going to be obviously doing any type of office duty. But I think it's also a sense of responsibility to your team, because without the office, without the pool, without the decks, your job can't run smoothly. You can't do your job efficiently, I should say. And then you're obviously first and foremost responsible for the safety of all these children. So as soon as parents, children, anyone walks through that front door, your eyes are on them. And so we all share that responsibility. And so I think it's a unique sense of the word responsibility, because at any other job, you're responsible for your duties. You go in, you leave, and that's about it. Ladies?
Yeah. I think coming out of what she said. That's definitely what you learned, because I thought this was going to be like an easy first job where you don't have a lot of responsibility. It was going to be like this fun, because I started for summer camp. It was going to be like a fun summer camp. I can just mess around with all the other camp counselors and who cares about the job. But it turned out to be a lot harder and a lot more responsibility to definitely manage all those children, manage the time, and then make sure that they were all safe. Definitely very, very, very hard first job, but definitely taught me a lot and helped me grow a lot faster. Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially with like multitasking and stuff. Like for instance, I used to work at the office in the morning, and then I would drive to the pool, and I would supervise for a little bit. And if whatever teacher feel like teaching that day, or felt bad, or didn't show up to work, I was in that pool after working in the morning in the office. So it's also, you have to be responsible for yourself and for your coworkers and for your location, essentially. So next topic. I keep looking back, but it's just because I'm feeding the baby, not because I'm like staring at my feet. Like awkwardly looking down, and I'm like, man, they probably think I'm like staring at my toes, but it's just him.
Now, the second thing I think we learned a lot about is preparedness, meaning that you were prepared for everything or anything that could happen at your job.
Or poop in the pool, because that's real.
Yeah, that's real.
That's real. That's true. Those Tootsie Rolls were real. Real things. Don't act like you haven't seen them. Put the Snickers in there or something? I don't know. I just know that I could clean the egg pool while I was working at Ocaquatics. I checked chlorine levels. I could get a little sick. Oh yeah.
And that was my favorite.
I was prepared.
When you would call the parents and you'd be like, your lesson's canceled today, and they were so upset, and then you're like, it was a poop in the pool. They're like, all right, no problem. I'll see you tomorrow then. Click.
Yeah, or my favorite, but we're in the parking lot. Cool. Bye. You can't go in the pool.
Swim in poop. But it's true. Being prepared and knowing how to say, like, okay, we have a, poop in the pool, and making sure everybody stays calm. That's a skill in it of itself, right? Is learning how to keep calm in those situations.
Because parents or learning freaking out. Yeah, or learning how, like, on the phone, smile. That was what Marin always said. Smile while you're talking on the phone, because they can always hear you smile. And I never understood her until afterwards, and I was like, oh, yeah, and you can't hear them smile.
And
you can't.
Preparedness also, she would say, like, smile even if the most horrible thing is happening. Because parents have no idea. If you're sitting in your class, which I didn't even work in the pool, but it's something you could see, when someone would smile really big, it was almost like, oh, I know, but nobody else knows. That means something's going on. So it's like, oh, there's a poop in the pool. And then if you keep a sense of calm or a smile, it masks everything, and it really does. And so as soon as you learn that, you'll learn how to take control of a situation rather than put yourself in one.
And we really learned, like, how to work as a team to be prepared, because we were always, like, on it. Like, people would know, okay, we'll get your kids out of the pool, the person would grab the bucket, we would all jump out, and we were all ready to, like, get the pool ready for when we were ready to open again.
Exactly. And it was like
team preparedness.
You knew how long, you knew you had to call the next set of parents, and everybody knew what their duty was, whether you were in the pool, whether you were on the deck, or whether you were in the office. Communication, which is an obvious one, especially at Ocaquatics. And for me, communication also has to do with observation. So when I first started working in the office, I think my first day, I got yelled at. Do you remember this, Crystal?
Oh, girl, I didn't even know your name because you were so rude and didn't introduce you.
That's besides the point. So the first day, I think I got yelled at because I was trying to book a reschedule, but I was very slow at it. And before I got to book a reschedule, someone already booked it. So then I had to tell the parent, like, oh no, I was too slow. I wasn't able to book it. Now somebody else booked it. So now we have to look at a different time. And naturally, the parent was, like, very upset. But from that, I learned how to observe everyone around me and to take in how they spoke to the parents. So, like, Crystal has a unique way of talking to parents. Gina has a unique way of talking to parents, and so do I. So Crystal's always very funny, very light, very airy, and it's, like, hard to even get upset at Crystal, right? And then Gina's very matter of fact, it's very blunt, and it's very short. Exactly. So Gina just says, oh, that reschedule is no longer available. Where here I was, like, word vomit, for lack of better word, like, better terms. But I'm like, oh, I can't because I was slow, and then I was, And so I learned a lot from even just the people around me and taking, like, okay, let me bring the light that Crystal has. Let me be forward the way Gina is and make it my own style. And you learn so much by just listening and watching other people that are role models around you. And then I know Gina had brought this up before, communication, if you want to talk about customer service.
Yeah, but right now I'm kind of
okay.
talk about. But I know that I definitely learned a lot of customer service, especially being in the office and being next to. And I know, Erin, you say that you picked up stuff from us, but we definitely picked up stuff from you, because there were days where I was like, man, I don't know how to handle this cranky, person who's obviously very stressed out, probably driving on the road, trying to come to a swim lesson, and I'm like 18, and this mom is, like, fully grown, and I feel so young next to her, and it's like gaining that confidence to communicate with a parent, like, this is my job, and I'm doing what's best for you and your kid, so even though I'm not, like, at the same level as you, like, I can still understand because I am trained in this, and I'm doing, like, a service for you that's good enough for you. So I think being able to, be confident in that, definitely learned a lot of that. Were we interrupting people?
Yes.
Not learning our communication skills? I'm just kidding.
Take it away, Crystal.
No, well, the other point, on top of all of that, like, I also think that communication was so between the teachers and office staff, because Aaron never taught in the water, but it wasn't until he came out in the world, you tried jumping in, and then Aaron had to, like, observe people and other teachers that were working in the what it would like to be a teacher, and then have to, attend to 4 or 5 kids, or if you're doing that baby class, it's, that's a whole different topic of what we needed to learn. So you have to be communicative, or, talk between the teachers, between Marin, between the supervisors, between everybody, and that's how you kind of, get that little Ocaquatics bow.
Oh my God, I think that's how I started teaching. That time that Mirren was doing the rotation, where office staff had to jump in the pool, and I jumped in the pool, and I think that's when I actually started teaching. That's funny that you brought that up.
Yeah. It's like, it's a whole new, when you get stuck in your own little niche, right, you get very comfortable in it. And so it's hard to see anybody else's point of view, which is what's so cool about that rotation thing. But basically, it's like gaining new perspective in someone else's shoes or jobs, right? So in the office, at least we used to, I don't know if they do it now, but if there was a reschedule or if there was a teacher late, whatever the case may be, and you had to stick one more student in that class, right? That means there's so much more stress on that teacher, which isn't something that the office wants to do. It's just to alleviate and make sure we don't have to cancel and rebook more lessons. So you also have to keep in mind in the pool that the parents are super upset their teacher's not there, or, whatever the case may be. And then they're bringing their concerns to the office. And so it's having like an appreciation that everyone's kind of put in the same bind. And then like all of you can talk about it together and say like, maybe that wasn't the way to handle it. Maybe this way is a better way to handle it. But it's just communicating through all of the different things that Ocaquatics offers, whether it be the teacher, the deck, the office, and then discussing it, right?
That's true. That's so funny. I was like, I'm never jumping in the pool. I'm never going to be a teacher. And then wham, Mirren throws us like this curveball. We're all switching roles, and you're going to observe all your other people's stuff. And then all of a sudden, I became a teacher and started teaching.
That was Marin's way of, you're gonna like it. You're gonna love it. You're gonna be great at it.
So
I'm sure Marin still says that right now.
That brings us to our next point. I love that Crystal just did that, because that brings us to the next topic, which is growth mindset, which Mirren is so big on, and I hope she made you all read those books too and like highlight and share in your minds. But growth mindset was a big one, and it's true. Mirren would say like, oh, you're going to do it, and what's more, you're going to like it. So that was just the way it was. Yeah. And growth mindset being just like taking a positive look at everything, or stopping yourself and making sure you're looking at it with an open mind, or a moment to grow. So for instance, we moved in the office from one computer system called Lynx to the computer system I think you still have now, which is where parents can go on and log in and do their own schedule. Yeah, iClass Pro. And so, I was so proud. Girl, I was not going to remember that. So that was like a big transition for us in the office. And at the time, everybody's like, this is horrible. I don't want to do it. And it was. You were working 2 different systems. You were having to transfer everybody. And, was for sure.
Right here.
She was the most vocal about disliking it. But once, and honestly,
always.
She's so stubborn. Yeah.
That's true. Oh my God.
But once we finally sat down as a group and said, like, look, this is going to be better for everyone in the end. It's going to make the company grow. The parents are going to be able to do their own reschedules. That's going to be 50,000 less calls than we'll have to take, days before, and sit there and do the notebook and call. So it was going to get rid of a lot of headaches and problems we were going to have for the future. So it was worth that sacrifice at that moment, moving everything being a pain, calling both of them, calling both of the managers, having to talk about how we enter this, how we do that. And it was obviously a test of patience, but having an open mind and a growing mind that this would later be better, obviously eases all that, number one. Number two, then you start to appreciate it. It's like, okay, whatever, we're going to do what we're going to do, and it's going to be better in the end. Let's do it.
Maren started in her office, like in her house, and then she moved to Gulliver, which was just like a little itty-bitty pool, and now Homegirl has 4 locations. I mean, come on. Only Maren Oka can pull that off. I mean, I feel like working at Ocaquatics, like, you always just felt appreciated. Like, you didn't always have to be reminded by a parent. Like, Maren did that, your coworkers did that, your students did that. The kids were constantly coming up to you and thought you were, like, the greatest, best thing, you know? And, hello, my self-esteem went from, like, 0 to, you know, this whole computer screen.
Girl. When does Maren get all of her best ideas?
When you become a mom?
No.
When you become a mom?
Well, I'm sure that... Girls, are you for real? How are you going to leave me like this?
When? I feel like we're being
questioned. Because we're not children.
When does Maren have all of her crazy ideas about...
Running.
Thank you.
Oh, when she's running.
Oh my gosh, yes. She would come back from a run and be like, I thought of this.
I just thought of this great thing.
This was me dodging the calls in the morning.
And then I'm like, oh my gosh, no, I'm not ready. I'm not ready.
It was like 8 a.m.
Like,
You've turned the key. You've turned
right,
the key.
Maren, I just got here.
And
I just got
calling,
here.
Yeah, Maren's calling, but you know she knows you're at work. And she's like, hey, are you there? And you're like, I'm here. And she's like, great, I had 17 new ideas. So the first thing I want you to do is the notebook, and then here's the list of the other 15 things. But it's great because it gives you, like, purpose, right? It keeps you busy, which obviously is always great at work because if you're busy, the time passes. But it's also like, okay, these are all of the things that run through her mind on, like, a daily basis, and all of the things that she's trying to improve on, and that's pretty impressive, which brings us to our next point, which was, like, being a boss, and, like, Maren encompasses that with all of that, right? And all 3 of us at one point or another were supervisors, and we were responsible for ourselves and the people around us, and obviously the children and the safety and all of that kind of stuff. But with being a supervisor, which I had never even wanted to be a supervisor, I don't think, ever. I was like, I like to be in charge.
Maren did some magic trick with her words that convinced you.
For sure.
Yeah, and you were like, okay, fine. I guess I'm a supervisor now. No need to panic because Maren was smiling and you were fine.
Yeah.
And then you were like, yeah, I'm a supervisor. Yeah.
And then I was like, no, I don't want to have to tell anybody anything. I want to go, I want to do my job, and I want to leave. Like, I don't like any confrontation. But what's cool about the confrontation is that it's a growing experience, and this is what Gina, I think, had brought up the other day too, about when someone's giving you feedback, it's not personal, right, Gina? Yeah, she talked a lot about that, so I'll let you take it from here.
Biggest challenge. Definitely getting constructive criticism, and it definitely helps you grow. But I think at the first, like, when you're somebody who's, like, not really used to hearing that, and you're definitely never had a job before, so you're going in and people are telling you you're doing this wrong, and you're taking it so personal, instead of just realizing that, like, they're helping you grow as a person and as an employee, so that the next time you either decide to be a supervisor or you decide to just venture out into your other job, that you have skills. And I think definitely learned that from Maren, but in the beginning, I had a hard time accepting it.
It's not all about being in trouble, you know. It's about learning something from something you did wrong. That's the only way you ever learn anything, right? Is by doing things wrong. So
yeah. No, and not only that, but you're gonna get evaluated for, like, the rest of your life. Like, let's be honest.
The rest of your life.
You're evaluated at work. You're evaluated by your friends. You're evaluated by your family. Hello. Cuando te casa, that's like a whole thing. You're evaluated for the rest of your life. So take it. Don't take it personal. Smile and move on.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Because we all know that I would complain all the time. I saw Miguel coming to me and I'm like, no, Miguel, I know what you're doing. I'm not ready. Talk to me tomorrow.
Okay, I just told Crystal this story before we group called, but it's too funny not to share. So Miguel, one day, I don't know where the miscommunication happened, but somebody put another water bug in his class. And I remember Miguel didn't even like the little ones. I don't know if he does now, but he didn't before. So He gets out of the pool at the end of that class like the Loch Ness monster, okay? He is dripping wet, goes across the floor, comes straight up to me. Do you remember this, Gina? And he's like, who put an extra water bug in my class? And I was like, Miguel, you're going to have to turn around and walk back to that pool because the next time you come up to me, you will have a smile on your face. And it's so funny because you already know when you've done something like that. Like Miguel literally later that day was like, sorry, Erin, I lost it. And it's like, it happens to everybody, but it's like that. It's like moving on. And also recognizing not everything is that serious. Like Miguel was clearly upset in that moment. There were too many water bugs. Those were the facts. And obviously there was a mistake and yeah, it was on our end. And so yes, Miguel was taking the brunt of it. And then yeah, should he have responded in that way? No, but he recognized that too. So it's like, okay, by the end of the day, we were all laughing about it and exactly moved on. And it was like, okay, well, now I know that that had happened. Maybe I'll check before the water bug classes or just to make sure there's nothing exceeding in the system. But it's just like a funny story. He came out dripping wet.
Yeah. Okay, well, my phone's about to die.
Crystal got knocked off, but Gina, if you want to close it out.
All right, so I am a case manager to a judge at the Children's Courthouse dealing with children who have been sex trafficked. And so I think a lot of the times, a lot of the life skills that I learned from Mirren still impact me. Like, the growth that I had at that job was like no other. And I think I can tell you that because I started there so young and then left there when I was about 21, maybe 22. And so by the end of it, I had just learned so much that that's the job that I remember the most. And it's the job that stays with me. And I use it every day. Everything that I learned there, I can tell you that I've learned it from Ocaquatics. And I use all of those skills every day, every job, even at home.
Yeah, agreed. All right, well, now that Crystal got knocked off, we're going to sign off. So it was fun talking to you, and toodaloo.